All right, so intro to factoring with a GCF. A GCF is a greatest common factor. And the biggest word here is common. That means present. In other words, it is something that is present in all of the terms, and we want the greatest one. So there will be things that are a common factor but may not be the greatest common factor. Kind of similar to if I gave you 100 over 50, and I said both of those are divisible by 10, and that would be 10 over 5. Well, obviously, you can keep simplifying that, and that would just be 2, right? So we could just do a step but not be completely finished. Same thing, we could take out a common factor that might not be the greatest. Same sort of logic applying there. So with 6 and 8, the greatest common factor there, we're just looking for two things that they are multiplied by. They are both multiplied by, and we're looking for the highest one. When you have some bigger numbers, it's really helpful to write out 1 and 6, 2 and 3, 1 and 8, 2 and 4. But when you have smaller numbers, especially single digit and sometimes even small double digit numbers, it's pretty easy to see that both of these are just divisible by 2. So instead of making that list, I would suggest you can make that list. That's perfectly fine. Because here all we're doing is finding the GCF. We're not actually writing the difference between them. So with B, that's just going to be 7, and with C, that's going to be 9. Be careful, because sometimes it might be one of the numbers that we're talking about. So find the GCF in the following expressions. So here we have 3x and 6. This is just like if I gave you 6x and 8, our GCF will be 2. If I gave you 14x and 21, our GCF will be 7. So the same concept, we're just applying it to binomials now. So both of these are divisible by 3, E by 5, and F by 2. So then we're actually going to factor the following expressions. So what we do when we're factoring is we divide both terms or all terms by our GCF. So our GCF here would be 2. So then our next step is to write this GCF out with an open parentheses. Okay, and that's really, really important. Don't forget your GCF. So then we would just divide straight down. So 4x divided by 2 will give you 2x. Drop down your sign. 14 divided by 2 will give you 7. So we know that we should be able to distribute this back out and to check and see if it gets us back to our original problem. So 2 times 2x will give us 4x, and 2 times 7 will give us 14. Yes, this does work. So this is our final answer right here with the 2 and 2x plus 7. This is our final answer right here. Okay, so that was just a check to see if it works at the bottom. Now, I do want you guys to understand that there's not always going to be a number. Sometimes you can have a variable as well. So here, our GCF will be a 2, but it would also be an x. And we're going to take out the variable. If the variable is present in all terms, we're going to take out the smallest exponent. So here, that x is present in both terms. We're going to take out the one that has the smallest exponent, which would just be x to the first power. So we write out this 2x with an open parentheses, and then we'll divide. So the 2's cancel out. That will leave us with x to the first minus 4. And that is our final answer. So whereas we were distributing and multiplying, factoring is like dividing. So distributing is like multiplying, whereas factoring is like dividing. Okay, so we're doing the exact opposite. 3x squared plus 12, we have a GCF of 3 there. We don't have an x because there's not an x in the 12 term. So we write a 3 with an open parentheses and just divide. All right, so we're going to do a couple more. Here, our GCF is a 2. 2 with the open parentheses, x plus 6. Our GCF here is a 3. 3 with an open parentheses, x plus 3. And our GCF here is a 5. Again, we don't have a variable for any of those because that variable is not present in both terms. Okay, so we'll do the same thing with a trinomial. We just divide it by, divide our GCF by all 3. So we divide each of these by 2. That is our highest GCF. 2 with an open parentheses, x squared plus 5x plus 6 will be our final answer there. Over here, we will divide each of them by 2 again. It's not always the number in front, but when you have a trinomial, a lot of times it is. Minus 7x plus 12. Here we will divide by 3. 3 with an open parentheses, x squared plus x minus 2. And lastly, for this one, we do have an x in all terms, so we're going to divide this by 2x. You notice that we have an x in every single term, so we take out the one that's the smallest. So we'll do 2x with an open parentheses, x squared plus x minus 2. Now again, I want you to understand that you have to have this GCF out front. If you don't, this is not the same. Okay, the only reason this works is because we are factoring out that GCF, taking what is common in every single term and pulling it out and leaving it set up as multiplication. It will be a monomial times either a binomial or trinomial or however many terms you have. So really easy lesson today. Just go ahead and knock out that homework and we will see you tomorrow. Have a great day.